YNR spoilers reveal that ever since the events began to quietly creep into Lily's life, she never thought she would be drawn deeper into such a sophisticated web of conspiracy. Recent changes in Chancellor's operations have made Lily feel uneasy. The faces of familiar people are becoming increasingly unfamiliar, and important decisions are always hindered by hidden forces that Lily herself cannot name. Every time she is faced with shady reports, postponed appointments, or anonymous threatening letters, Lily feels a chill run down her spine, making her unable to sit still. Despite Devon's concerns about her safety and the company's unstable situation, Lily is determined to investigate on her own. Her intuition tells her that all traces lead to a mysterious man named Dumas, who is pulling the strings of a series of scams and threatening the survival of Chancellor Industries. But as Lily delves deeper, she discovers that Dumas is not a single individual, but rather a shadow, a mask to cover up a much larger conspiracy. One night, while going through a string of strange emails that the legal department received, Lily suddenly notices an unusual detail: the language, the word choice, even a few characteristic spelling errors. All of it seems to remind her of someone who was very close to her in the past. Unable to contain herself, Lily pieces together memories of her ex-husband, Cain, who was an important part of her life and also the only person who understood her well enough to take advantage of the weaknesses that only she could see. Her suspicions grow as Lily compares Dumas's interference in Chancellor's deals with Cain's reappearances in Genoa City. It's a strangely suspicious coincidence. Lily decided to take a risk and secretly arranged a meeting with Dumas through Damian, who was also caught in the same vortex. The chosen location was an old warehouse on the edge of the city, where the dim streetlights were only enough to illuminate the shadows of those present that night. Damian entered first, looking nervous but still trying to stay calm. Lily quietly observed from a distance, her heart clenched when she saw Dumas. Still with his mask covering his face, standing opposite Damian. The atmosphere was tense as the two began to exchange challenging sentences, examining each other's every word. Damian did not know Dumas' true identity, he only felt something familiar but could not name it. In the darkness, Lily moved slightly, feeling the danger approaching but still unable to take her eyes off what was happening. She knew that if she hesitated for even a moment, she could miss her only chance to expose the person behind everything. Suddenly, Lily decided to rush out, no longer thinking about her own safety. She walked straight towards the two men, and firmly demanded that Dumas reveal himself. The real shock came when Lily used all her strength to peel off the mask on Dumas's face. Under the dim light, she was stunned when she realized that it was Cain. The ex-husband she had loved and trusted with all her heart. Damian was also stunned, completely unaware that the person manipulating everything was Cain, the person he had always thought was just someone who stood outside of all power struggles. Damian's eyes turned from surprise to resentment, because he had also become a pawn in Cain's plot without even knowing it. Lily seemed to have completely collapsed, all her doubts and worries now turned into bitter truths. However, the situation at this moment became extremely dangerous. Lily's sudden presence put Cain in a corner. Cain's eyes flashed with madness and despair, because what he had been secretly hiding all this time was about to be exposed to the light. In that moment, Devon also ran over and pulled Lily behind him, realizing the danger that was imminent if Cain lost control. Devon silently thanked his intuition for coming at the right time, otherwise, Lily might have met with misfortune at the hands of her former husband. In that chaotic moment, all the memories of their married life, the promises, the trust and the pent-up disappointment between Lily and Cain emerged. Cain had no way back, forced to admit all the mistakes he had tried to hide from Lily. It turned out that all the moves to attack Chancellor, manipulate Damian, and create a mysterious Dumas character were just the tip of the iceberg in his revenge plan as well as his desire to regain the position that Cain had lost. Cain bitterly revealed to Lily that the reason he did all this was not only for power, but also because of the torment and inferiority complex of seeing himself excluded from her life, seeing the woman who once belonged to him now running a glorious empire. The appearance of Damian, the development of Chancellor under Lily's hands, all of them were like a knife cutting into Cain's self-esteem, causing him to gradually lose himself, to lose the boundary between right and wrong. Lily listened silently, tears streaming down her face. She realized that behind the strong, fierce appearance, Cain was still a vulnerable man, the man she once loved but now too unfamiliar. Damian stood beside her, his mind in turmoil as he understood that he was also just a victim in this power game. Devon held Lily tightly, ready to protect her from any possible danger. The truth gradually came to light. Cain admitted all the sabotage and fraud, including creating the Dumas character to manipulate the Chancellor, even daring to get involved in shady business deals to make Lily lose faith in herself and her teammates. Damian was stunned when he realized that he had accidentally become an important link in that conspiracy, while Lily clearly felt the pain of betrayal not only in love but also in her career and ideals. That moment was the end of all illusions about a family, a love that was once so beautiful between Lily and Cain. No matter how many times Cain admitted all his mistakes and apologized, the damage he caused to Lily could not be erased. Lily decided to ask Devon to call the police, ending the dark days, returning innocence to Chancellor and to herself. In the moment of being handcuffed, Cain looked back at Lily, the woman he still loved, but now forever left him because of his own wrong choices. Damian sadly left the warehouse, carrying with him the regret of letting things go too far. Devon held Lily's hand tightly, comforting her with a warm hug, reminding her that family, faith and truth are always the most important things. After all, Lily understood that every choice, no matter how small, could change not only her life but also the lives of those around her. With courage, intelligence, and tolerance, she overcame the biggest shock of her life, ready to rebuild everything from scratch, even though the road ahead would be full of difficulties. The past few days at Chancellor were like a silent chess game, in which each piece held a secret, each move concealed a trap, and Lily realized that she was no longer an observer but had been drawn into the game, forced to become the one who decided the fate of many people. Unease began to creep in from the smallest incidents. A contract was delayed for unknown reasons, a project that was about to be signed was suddenly withdrawn, anonymous messages with threatening content made the atmosphere in the office even more tense. Every one of Lily's associates, every close employee, even those who seemed never to be involved in power intrigues, gradually took on the appearance of a suspicious person in her eyes. At night, Lily often tossed and turned by the window, watching the city lights flicker in the thick fog of suspicion. She thought about Cain, the man who once made her believe that love could erase all mistakes, the man who had gone through countless storms with her, shared many dreams of a peaceful and quiet home. But everything was broken by mistakes, betrayals, secrets that time and tears could not wash away. That wound seemed to have healed, but now it ached every time Lily recognized unusual signs in anonymous letters, in each text message, in seemingly meaningless symbols that only two people who had loved each other could recognize. One time, while reviewing the contract, Lily discovered a familiar syntax error that only Cain had made in the past. The doubt was like a rock pressing down on her chest, making her almost suffocate. She decided to investigate secretly, not telling anyone except Devon, the only person Lily truly trusted at the moment. Devon realized the danger was imminent but also understood Lily's desire to clarify everything herself, because only then could she face the pain of the past and move on. Together they traced Dumas' every step, every time he interfered with Chancellor's activities, every strange trace in the internal security system. Each new discovery was like a needle piercing Lily's mind, further clarifying the shadow of a stranger who was so familiar it haunted her. Besides her concerns about work, Lily still couldn't stop tormenting herself about what she had lost. She remembered every sleepless night, every dead phone call, every word Cain said before he left her life, all like ghosts lingering around Lily, reminding her of a time of love that ultimately left only brokenness and pain. That made Lily sharper, more sensitive to even the smallest changes around her. Meanwhile, Damian, who Lily once considered a friend and a colleague, is now drawn into this conspiracy. Damian still thinks that Dumas is just an anonymous businessman, a competitor like everyone else. But the more he interacts, the more he feels an invisible pressure from Dumas, a threat hidden behind promises of cooperation or sweet deals. Damian begins to wonder if he was wrong to put his trust in someone who has never revealed himself, and above all, he clearly feels that there is a mysterious connection between him and Dumas that goes beyond the boundaries of work. Darkness lurks around Damian and Lily in every step, every choice. The appearance of anonymous gifts in Lily's office, nameless flowers, a book of old memories, or a card with only one line, "You will never escape the past," makes her even more panicked and insecure. Every time she received a gift, Lily looked at Devon with worried eyes, as if asking for help but not knowing how to start. Devon secretly increased security, controlling all data coming in and out of the company, but even he began to feel that the force behind these things was not a single individual, but a familiar hand, knowing all too well Lily's weaknesses and habits. Finally, after many days of surveillance, Lily discovered that Damian would meet Dumas at an old warehouse on the edge of the city. It was the place where she had once gone with Cain on a charity trip. A beautiful memory that had now turned into an obsession. Lily decided to take the risk of going there, telling no one but Devon. That night, it rained heavily, the sound of the rain mixed with Lily's pounding heart as she quietly followed the damp wall, trying to see clearly what was happening inside. She saw Damian facing a man wearing a hat and a mask, his sharp eyes flashing under the dim light. Dumas' voice was deep and husky, both familiar and strange, each word seemed to pierce Damian and Lily's hearts. In that moment, Damian tried to convince Dumas to reveal his true plan, but he only wavered, talking about revenge, about his own justice, about the pain of betrayal and about the weakness of those who once loved but did not have the courage to keep that love. Damian did not know that the person facing him was Cain, the man he once considered a brother. Cain's eyes behind the mask reflected the pain of a person who was both a victim and a perpetrator, a soul lost between hatred and the desire to be loved. Unable to bear it any longer, Lily suddenly rushed in, directly facing Dumas, asking him to take off his mask, to no longer be afraid of anything. Lily's hand trembled as she touched the cold mask, each finger seemed to remove not only a layer of makeup but also reveal a past that was thought to be buried deep in the darkness. When the mask fell, Cain's face was revealed in the pale light, all tiredness, despair, and pain. Time seemed to stop. Lily was stunned. Damian stepped back in shock, unable to believe his eyes. It was the moment when all secrets were revealed, all plots were exposed, all painful memories came flooding back. Cain collapsed, admitting everything. He confessed that he had staged the Dumas play just to get revenge on Chancellor, to prove to Lily that she could never truly escape the ghosts of the past. He did it because he felt rejected, excluded from Lily's life, and because he couldn't bear to see her and Damian succeed and be happy without him. The dreams, the promises, the beautiful memories of the past were now just ashes. He confessed that he had thought he could go back and start over, but with each passing day, he realized more and more that his existence was just a hopeless obsession for Lily. Devon arrived in time when he sensed danger. He pulled Lily behind him, protecting her from Cain's mad rage. But what hurt Lily the most was not the physical threat, but the pain of seeing the man who once loved her so much fall into hatred, despair, and disorientation. Damian stood there, filled with shame and anger for being used, for unwittingly assisting in a dark plan without even knowing it. In the last moment before being handcuffed and led away, Cain looked at Lily, tears falling silently. He apologized for letting things go too far, sorry for hurting the woman he loved, sorry for letting hatred cloud all the good things that had happened. Lily nodded silently, forgiving not because she still loved him, but because she understood that anyone could lose their way if they weren't strong enough to let go of the past. Cain's story shocked Chancellor and the entire city of Genoa. People like Jill, Billy, and even distant partners were shocked to learn that the manipulator behind all the deals over the past time was Cain, a person who was once trusted and admired. Chancellor was at risk of collapse, stocks plummeted, contracts were suspended, and the trust of employees was shaken to the core. Lily, despite having overcome the biggest shock of her life, could not avoid feeling lonely, empty, and guilty towards everyone. But it was in adversity that she felt the true power of family, of love and forgiveness. Devon was always there, encouraging and giving Lily the strength to revive Chancellor, to revive herself, to open a new chapter in her life after so many losses. Deep down, Lily understood that no matter how challenging fate was, as long as she was resilient and had enough faith, darkness would eventually give way to light. She stepped out of the shadows, no longer a victim of her past, but a guide for herself, for Chancellor, and for those who had gone astray like Cain. If you want to add the reactions of other characters like Billy, Jill, or the next developments when Chancellor rises, I can continue to expand this story. Amanda's appearance in the Chancellor's office marked a quiet but important turning point for everyone involved in the Dumas affair. In an atmosphere of tension and secrecy, Amanda entered with a calm, professional demeanor, her eyes following the smallest expressions of those sitting around the large table. Lily, Nate, and Devon all shared the same concern about what was really going on behind the curtain named Dumas. This affair not only threatened the Chancellor's interests but could also shake the Winters' entire power system. Amanda, as Dumas's attorney, was caught between two waves of suspicion and trust. In the past few days, she received many questions from Winters about legal documents, confidentiality clauses, and especially Dumas' true motives for constantly interfering in major deals. Every time she answered, Amanda had to choose her words carefully, both to comply with professional ethics and to protect herself from the consequences that could suddenly fall. However, deep in her mind, Amanda still couldn't help but wonder whether she was protecting a truly honest client or just a hidden person with dark intentions beyond her control. The meeting between Amanda and the trio Lily, Nate, Devon took place in a suffocating atmosphere. Lily took the initiative to open by listing a series of unusual signs, shady transactions, the appearance of contracts that only Dumas had the right to intervene. Devon went straight to the point when questioning Amanda about Dumas's true purpose, whether it was to protect Winters as she always claimed, or just a ploy to manipulate from behind. Nate, with his sharp instincts, paid attention to Amanda's every little move, hoping to catch even the smallest opening. Amanda's every explanation was met with skepticism, especially when she insisted that Dumas was only acting to protect Winters from business attacks and to prevent the company from falling into a passive position before major competitors. However, Dumas's strange moves made everyone feel like there was some hidden force pulling the strings, controlling both Chancellor and Winters according to a separate plan, alien to the common goal of the whole group. The matter became more complicated when there were rumors that Amanda would soon meet Billy to explain more clearly about Dumas' role in Abbott Communications as well as Chancellor. Billy, with his hot-tempered, straightforward personality and dislike of ambiguity, was determined to expose all the secrets that he suspected were being hidden. When meeting Amanda, he did not hesitate to ask her to clearly answer about the agreements between Dumas and the related parties, as well as Amanda's true role in the whole story. He wondered if Amanda was using her position as a front for a larger scheme, or if she herself was just a pawn in a game whose ending no one could really control. Amidst the tense conversation, Amanda remained steadfast. She explained that her actions were based on confidentiality clauses, that her job was to represent Dumas' legitimate interests, not to reveal even the smallest of inside information. However, when facing Billy, Amanda realized the pressure of walking between two lines. On one side was the duty to protect her client, on the other side was the truth that was becoming increasingly difficult to control. She found herself questioning what had once been obvious, and deep down, Amanda felt like she was being drawn into a game where every move threatened to collapse. Meanwhile, Phyllis silently watched Amanda's every move. Phyllis, with the keen intuition of someone who has been involved in power struggles and deceptions many times, quickly realized that something was amiss in Amanda's handling of the Dumas affair. Not only that, Phyllis also received hidden signals from old relationships, from former close friends who had become rivals or reluctant allies. In a moment of weakness, Phyllis decided to ask Amanda for help, hoping to use her personal relationship to find out the truth behind that layer of secrecy. When meeting Amanda, Phyllis was not afraid to confront her directly, using all her knowledge of her friend to pressure and force Amanda to reveal information. However, Amanda could only tell Phyllis a certain amount of information due to confidentiality obligations with the client. Each of Amanda's answers was full of calculation, half wanting to maintain professional principles, half wanting to save the friendship that was on the brink of collapse due to suspicion and secrecy. Phyllis realized that Amanda could not reveal much, but from every gesture, look, and hesitation in her voice, Phyllis understood that her friend was also stuck in a maze with no way out. There were times when Amanda herself wondered if she was being taken advantage of, blinded by the client, turned into a person who conveyed false information for goals she never expected. Pressure from Chancellor, Winters, Abbott Communications, pressure from Phyllis. A close friend but also someone who is always ready to question loyalty, makes Amanda lose sleep many times, thinking about the limits between duty and personal ethics. She clearly feels loneliness, suspicion, and fear of a future where all the truth is exposed, then she will be the one to pay the price for everything. However, is Amanda really the person Phyllis asked for help, or is there another hand behind the scenes secretly manipulating everything? In the darkness of the unclear conspiracies, maybe someone else has been taking advantage of the trust and personal relationships of Amanda and Phyllis to control the whole big game, thereby changing the whole situation, affecting the fate of Chancellor, Abbott Communications, Winters, even those individuals who once thought they were just outsiders observing. If true, the result would be more than a simple information leak, it could have far-reaching consequences. Broken alliances, overlapping lawsuits, and even the collapse of families that had existed for generations in Genoa City. Every choice Amanda made, no matter how small, was like a domino, ready to topple everything she had worked so hard to build, including her career, her relationships, and her personal reputation. Phyllis, a seasoned veteran of the situation, decided not to put all her faith in a single source. She began gathering information from other sources, using every connection in and out of the legal, business, and even former rivals to search for clues about Dumas's true identity and the motives behind these complex interventions. Phyllis is not afraid to cross the line, willing to take risks and even endanger herself to find the truth, because she understands that just one mistake can cost not only Amanda but also Phyllis herself and her loved ones dearly. Meanwhile, Billy continues to stick close to Amanda, determined not to miss any loopholes. He pays attention to every detail, from attitude to body language, determined to discover loopholes in Amanda's words or cracks in her relationships with her partners. Billy believes that with perseverance, sooner or later he will expose everything. However, deep in his soul, he also feels sorry for Amanda, a woman caught in a vortex too big for her, trapped between friendship, duty, and deadly secrets. Amanda, after all, realizes that she is standing on the fragile line between right and wrong, between loyalty and betrayal, between maintaining her personal identity and being swept away by the power of hidden forces. She understands that just one wrong choice will cause everything to collapse, not only for her but for many others. That pressure makes Amanda more resilient and cautious in every step, but at the same time makes her feel more alone and vulnerable than ever. In the end, the truth about Dumas, about the mysterious transfers, about the secret arrangements between large corporations, will have to be revealed. And when that day comes, Amanda, Phyllis, Billy, Lily, Devon, Nate all will have to face the biggest choice of their lives, accept the truth and heal, or continue to plunge into the spiral of power, conspiracy, and betrayal, leaving nothing but wounds that will never heal.